The weather is not so good today. Yes, hello and welcome to Kellerkin. Today we are 15 August 2020 and it's exactly noon. So, let's go. Welcome on board. It's funny these double numbers here. Don't you think? Yeah. 22, 4, 1, yeah. Okay. Number 5. Number 40. Strange that there is a cross on it. On this number. Number 17. Number 7. And something funny, there is some number are 2 times there. No. This is a Stone Age. Yeah, curious stone over there. This is number 9, always with this double number. Yeah. Number 10, 21, 18. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that there is two times those numbers. Look, number 9 and number 9. Number 7, funny things. Number 6, funny things. This number 6 early time was open. Now it's closed, but not locked. Number 12. This one is no Wasser. It means water. This one is number 20 with a cross. 16, 11, and 23. Okay. And the one who interests us is there. Yes, this is us. Number 13. With a nice number here. You see? Let's open the paradise. Yeah, let's open this door and let's see what's over here. Yes, welcome to paradise. Yeah, just missing some light here. Yeah, no problem. Work on this. Who just light? Yeah, to see how paradise is good. Yeah. Lot of new boxes over there, yes. Yeah. Yeah. All good over there. Okay. I think the visit is finished. So, yes. It's always a funny visit to come here, you know. There always some funny fact. Yes. Really funny. So, let's relock it. Till the next time. Okay. Goodbye. So, for example,
it's MBS episode 12. We have Saturday, the 15th August. It's 1 o'clock and 38 minutes. And here we go about some facts touching the real life, because we were always in the last episode speaking about internet, cyberbullying, cyber cryptocurrency, trading and illegal deep web, dark web, etc. Now it's time to speak about the real life which happens to us, which we live, which which how, and my first question, Alex B, will start with this. I will turn on later, so stay continued. My first question is, how has life changed for you in the last 2 weeks since we started MBS?
In fact, it has changed also my vision or what Alpha exactly feel and got till October now. Because at this time I was not really clear with this. I was thinking, yes, maybe some things are true, but I'm not sure, and all this. I was somehow missing some proof, but finally,
But sorry when I interrupt you, but in another episode you were saying you were, let's say, part of it. You were even
yes,
crying.
yes, exactly.
So can you explain this a little bit more deeper?
Yes. For this, I invite you to see the other episode. But
But how can you be not
review-
sure about that this can be true when you were, let's say, part of it in one time?
Yes, because I was thinking maybe exaggerate. It's not so big like this. Maybe.
Okay.
So I was thinking maybe it's too. He make it really too much overreacting, or something like this. In fact.
Okay.
This is explained by this. I was thinking, yes, it's maybe too much overreacting, but the real but on this is that I have seen myself on my real life, and when I think back, in fact, in more times than this, prove about all this, in fact. So I've got several examples, but the first example is the administration, in fact. To get, for example, a paper to get here when you are a stranger, you have to need some confirmation for this. And in fact, when you look on internet what they ask about things, nobody say it. Everybody say there's nothing special, or the questions are different, are always different under the case and all this.
So yeah, can it be that they were somehow, let's say, what is the right word? Letting you wait.
In fact, yes, because first I have go there physically. It was very long to wait and all this, and
And you give them all the proofs.
exactly. I first start to give them something. Then the guy who was there told me, yeah, but you need first to have maybe a job there, or to have a proof that you have some money there. So he tell me I get 3 months for this. I have said okay, fair enough. So I have started to make my file and all this.
At this time you also married.
Exactly, on the same time, exactly. So I've redo my file, say yes, I'm married, my situation has changed, I've got this and that in place for you. So what do you think? And then I think 2 weeks after, this time it was not so long, 2 weeks after, just a letter to say, hey, but it's missing some new proof for your file. Your file is not correct, or it's missing some proofs. So I have make some new letters, and finally I have even asked help about a social assistance, because at this time I was following some German course, and at this school there were some social assistance, in fact. So I have decided to give help to the social assistance, and social assistance...
Ask help.
Exactly, and social assistance has told me some few things. She has found by herself also to have the info, and finally she told me maybe a member of your family can help, and maybe with some money or whatever on the side, and can help you. And because I have found out, because every time we try to find them, they never go to the phone. Except one time, I find the phone, and the woman told me the resources are not enough, it's not possible, or something like this, but just shortly like this, without giving more detail about what shall I do to work on it, you know. At this time it was Corona time, so to find really a job, complicated at this time.
Yes.
Yeah, and Corona time, you know, a lot of people has lost the job all over the country here and all over the world. So you probably know this situation by yourself. So
And you are EU citizen, so
exactly,
you are
I'm from France, no
not
EU.
from a third state, so
Exactly. Yes, because I know some other example of some other people who have made the same thing as me, but they have also some other trouble. For example, to have some birth certificates or whatever. So
yeah.
it's other examples, but
In which case you think is this connected to, let's say, my story?
so finally, in fact, what I was thinking that this waiting is very long, and I was thinking, yes, I have to do really a lot, translate paper, all this, and every time I was resending something, there were always 2 weeks after a letter come in and say, no, something is not here, no, something is not correct.
But what was in the end? And there was a letter coming, okay,
And
when I was in the hospital, or did I come later?
And I must say, it's still not solved right now, this file.
Yeah, but wait, when I was going to the hospital, which I come on right after this episode on my story of the hospital, where I went to the hospital to get some help, just right then you got an answer, is this right? That your file is positive and you have to pay just 29 euro and you will receive your file soon.
Yeah, but it's also this has been possible before I get a job in June. So by some big luck I get a job. But for this point of job I will have to clear also something about this. Because yes, in fact, because it has also been made. Let's say one day I was just following an online German course, and then I received a call from a company. Who a woman started to speak to me in German, first to test my German level, like usual, and then she told me, I am French, and we are finished in French finally the thing, and she told me, yes, maybe you can come on those next days and we can meet together and think about it. So I was thinking, okay, fair enough, like in every...
But she even didn't want to see you in person.
No,
not even on video.
At this time it was Corona time, and she told me.
Not even on video.
No. On the first call, she had just said me, we meet on these days, and we will see.
Okay.
That was on the first call. But I think 1 hour later, she told me I'm a lot on home office right now, and I think. But we have a training. We start just 1 day after. I think, or 2 days after, something like this. And she told me, go to our training directly, and in this case, will give us the contract. So on this, in fact, what has really, let's say, surprised me on this, we had no video conference before, so not really meet or speak.
And at the same time, the things went heavy against me.
Yes, exactly. And we have even no speech at this time with the woman who was proposed the job. So it was already strange. So, but after, so I have start finally the job. But something went strange, in fact. First, the training was very fast made in German, because the guy was speaking very, very fast. So hard to understand all what he says for me with my level. After it was clear by somebody else who was speaking French, so it's good. But on this, all good. But there is a but, in fact, because one of my colleagues, who is an Austrian, was here and was telling me, don't you think from what we working for is strange? And because
what was your work?
In fact, it was for a platform of internet who proposed some service. For example, you click on the pop-up on Facebook, and you have an about to games, for example, or for a porn video, or from a video for the best goal, or so sport, or whatever. In fact, some video on internet, but mostly some games, in fact. Or some PCS cards, or PlayStation cards to...
PlayStation cards, yes.
Yes. No, PCS this time.
Ah, yeah.
Exactly named PCS. And PaySafe also, yes. It's both, in fact.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, because there are different names on it. Also, gift cards.
And how big was your part of the team?
In
You told me
fact,
there are many people working there.
yes.
So
And
can you explain a
and
little bit about this?
on my part, I was to. In fact, I was receiving the calls of the people who were telling, yeah, I've got this on my bill, and I don't know what is it exactly, and I have never subscribed to such a system. Can you please refund me and cancel the service? So that was the goal, and also some mail were coming for the same reasons, in fact, and we had to answer the mail and all this. And one time I have get a mail. It was for France. I was because I was from on the French part. So the Frenchman was saying, "Hello, I'm policeman from this city, and I want some info about this man, because this man is a young man who is not even not a teenager, you know, so 12 years old or something like this. So not an adult. And this man has take some money on some account, making, in fact, he has just called the customer and say, yeah, okay, I have make a wrong number, but you have my code. Can you make? I have registered my own card, but it has been it has come on your phone. So can you do this for me, please? So the customer was busy at this time and say, yeah, okay, go on it. And finally, the policeman was asking some information about this.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, in fact, about this case. And the guys say that several times it has happened, and the small child again called and said, yeah, okay, I have again the same problem. And finally, at the third SMS, the guy has looked at the SMS and see that it was his own info were registered there, and not the info of the small guy. So, of course, you have seen that something was wrong. But and finally, as a friend were policeman, and they have transferred the case, and the policeman was asking for info.
Yeah, so...
it's a heavy case, this one. Mostly people were asking only to stop the service, you know.
So in fact you also work for the police in your company?
No, not really, but when we have some police who request something, we have a process for this.
Okay. So
it can be also some lawyer, for example, or even some journalist also.
And how to shorten this a little bit up, you know?
And look, that's why the colleague has said, don't you think it's really perverse methods to make subscribe people with such things? And yes, it's very perverse, because even if your phone is just open on your pocket, you have subscribed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yes, it is. And second, after one day I was making a file, and then for some reason it has escalated with customers, but it was not me the first answer, it was 3 or 4 other colleagues before, and after I was giving the final answer, and my colleague told me, oh, you're the sacrificed victim on this file. The Austrian colleague still the same.
What does she mean exactly?
That finally I will take for every other if the chef sees this.
Why?
Because in fact I'm the last one who gives the answer. I should have seen what the other have done and tell the chef, hey, the other have done it before finally send me my answer. In fact.
How was the atmosphere to you at this company?
In fact, and strangely, the manager has not come on me on this day, but it has come on 2 other people.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I was very strange finally, cause one time when I have make some mistake before, he was always coming and say, hey, this is not right. Look, you should have do this instead of this.
Okay.
Yeah. So normal things when you are on the work, it's normal. Fair.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So this was at the time where, at the same time, let's say I call it again, gang stalking against me was starting to reach a heavy point.
Yes, exactly.
So can it be that your job was part of it to split us?
Yes, because in fact, maybe, it's still maybe, of course, because we have no proof, we can't prove it.
You can't prove it,
So-
yes,
So
but
it's only a maybe, but a big maybe, in fact, that it could be just to have me on one side and Alpha alone at home to face all, and me on one side busy with some stuff, and sometimes even it was strange. There was some long hour with nothing, no busy things. Yeah, this is most strange if I work. Normally, when you work full gas every time, you know.
yeah.
You have sometimes some small break, but I mean not break like this.
Okay, this
And
is this.
even at the work also, I have seen one day there is a new activity next to me, and there was a guy with a suit. First reaction of my colleague was funny. She said, "Hey, what's the hell a guy in suit go in the call center if he's not the director?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And of course, I was thinking the same. And this guy was strange, always looking at me, and always with a blue suit. And he started something like, "Oh yeah, you are French." And I have told him just yes, and that's all, you know.
Yeah,
Not
and
only
you told me he appeared again.
And then the next 1 week after, my colleague was sitting on my place, and I said something to her that, hey, it was my place next time, I have to come back here. And then the manager of him has come and said, hey, they plenty of other space.
In fact, he wanted to sit next to you.
Yeah, exactly. Not just next, but close, in fact. Close enough to see. And
were there other guys who you had the feeling who were, let's say, a little bit watching
yes,
you?
a new one was come to help from a part of the job, and he was sitting always next to me.
And did you have the inner feeling, or I mean, I don't want to, we cannot prove it. So,
No.
Did you have a feeling that maybe this guy is also taking an eye to watch you, or?
Yeah, of course. Or I say my colleague one time, maybe he was trying to flirt a little bit with you.
Yeah, it can be also, yeah.
Yeah, why not? It can be also an idea.
Okay.
But in fact, every time he was starting...
Hear this story first time,
In
but
fact,
yeah.
every time he was starting to speak to me, even one day another woman colleague was there. I just told to him, hey, let her in peace. It was a time when I was just coming back to the hospital, in fact, from a visit you. So, yeah, and he started to speak to me at this time, and the other girl told me, hey, let her in peace. She come from just now, so let her in peace. She need to work now.
From which country was this guy?
Czech.
Oh, an Eastern country. What a surprise.
Yeah, and
yes.
And the woman was for the Czech responsible was born the 25 December.
Oh, my birthday.
Yeah.
And what was the name of this guy?
The guy was named André with a G at the end.
Oh, nearly my name.
Yeah, with a G at the end.
Is this not magic?
Yeah, just with a G at the end. And on this also, this worked a lot with WhatsApp. And
you had some WhatsApp groups,
yes,
I remember.
And on this WhatsApp group one day was appearing a name that is really not common. It was the same name similar to the father of Alpha.
In fact, it was the exact name of, I have to explain this, it was the exact name of my father, because I will not mention his name, but, my father spells his name very unique.
Yes.
He dropped some...
It's an artist name, in fact. So.
He dropped some letters out of his name, and it's very unique, and you can't find this anywhere else. So, yeah, and it's just his name. I remember you showed me. Just his name was on the top front of the WhatsApp group list.
Yes.
You know? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
But now, okay, this is this job part.
This is the French point.
Okay, this is this job part. But now we come to the point which really I wanted to go in the beginning. You know, how has life changed since you decided to work with me together on MBS?
In fact, I start to be more careful about all these different signs. and make like a puzzle on my head to have not say that Alpha has tell me this, so I think the same. But really, I have taken a whole night. I remember I was not sleeping, just thinking and making all the puzzle myself, and finally to have all the pieces together. And I see that it was matching with what Alpha was saying. In fact.
How were the response of the people? We have now 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks.
In fact, funny fact, people don't want to watch our video from Don't Surprise These Things. Anytime we broadcast him for the premiere, normally you are excited by the premiere. Or curious at least.
Yeah.
At least curious.
Did you have some strange reaction of old friends?
In fact, for example...
or were some new old friends coming?
Strangely, Mr. P has till this time blocked me on Facebook. Oh.
And what happened to Mr. B?
And Mr. B has, in fact, was on the group. Then he has told us, no, I don't want to be part of this group. I'm afraid for my family and all this. And finally decided to also run away and block us. And Mr. B was one of our, let's say, closest friends.
Okay, and
Mr. X has announced on the same time the strange thing. I will quit Facebook in September, and I install me to another city.
And was this not happening to many of these friends? But they were saying, oh, I go now on vacation,
yes.
I change my city, or...
Yeah, I change my city, I change a lot of movings.
All on holiday, okay, it's holiday time, but all at the same time. And what happened on the same time? I mean, the real life, we are in lockdown, so we are still in lockdown, so we cannot tell so much about the real life because we are not so much out.
No.
But how can I explain this? There are also some old contacts appearing back again.
Yes, this is, for example, the return of Mr. R was totally blocked turning years and years, and with the return on our contact Facebook.
And he answered finally your friend request, yes.
Yes, which is really surprising. I was thinking he has long time refused.
Yeah, and what is the progress? And to return to this paper, to this Aufenthaltsgenehmigung, to this paper to stay in Austria. What has happened? For example, we were renting a new internet. What has happened?
So in fact, in July, finally, they have sent me a request to pay and say it's positive, so you can pay.
And you will receive it. It was just the time where I was locked in the hospital.
Yes, and yes, I have paid it, but till this time, nothing has been received. I have written one mail one day and refund, and one day somebody has said, yes, it's positive, so you will receive soon for post or have soon a termin a date to go and search.
And what happened after in the last mail you received?
Finally, on the last mail, she told it's...
If it's positive, as I remember, if it's positive...
It's still on work.
So it's not positive?
Yeah, you see.
So they changed it from positive back to not positive?
Yes.
So can you feel that somebody is there working till I'm finished?
Of course, it's really like this, They play with it,
Yes, okay, thank you. We come soon. On Monday comes a very XXXXXXL episode.
Yes.
Yes, so be aware for this, to not miss it. Because Monday will be a special day. It's the We Are One festival on the same time.
Yes,
and
it's still loading right now, but
but special guests like Diana Emma play on this festival, and Murder by Sound, and other guys who are really let's say interest, so
exactly.
It will be a special day, and yes, there will be a special XXL episode on it.
It's also the return of Mr. M for his vacation, for example.
Yes, so all comes at the same time. Yes.
For Monday.
Yes, okay. So, is there something else which was strange in the last 2 weeks?
No, I don't think so. Oh.
How was the reaction of the people to you?
Yeah, finally they just block me, you know.
So they decide, you were always friendly, I remember you were always friendly with
Yes,
everybody, and
but they
nobody
just,
was ever against you
in fact,
till when?
Till we have started MBS, and till this day they have started to block me with no explanation.
So in fact, they were always on your side as long as you were working for them.
Yes.
Against
fact, yes.
me.
In fact, yes. This is a real fact.
So when you decided to switch to totally work with me together and quit the others, they were all starting to make stress and block you.
This is a real fact.
Okay, thank you. I think this is a clear answer, and
Yes,
we can end
go
this
on
video.
Alpha Part now.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 15th August of 2020. We are watching the XXL episode of MBS 12 this time, you know. And I want to explain some facts about what happened before we started MBS and which was finally causing me to start MBS. You know, as you may have followed the past episodes, I think, or I believe, or my woman and me believe that I'm a victim of a, let's say, gang stalking caused by a narcissistic, probably ex-girlfriend or whatever, you know, who tried to infiltrate all my friends since years, and I was stupid enough to not believe it, and yeah. Okay, now come to the important point where I got the proof, you know. Yes, in fact, it was. Yes, I have to say, in June, in end of June, I was so much under pressure that I really was not believing my woman anymore. I was believing nobody anymore, not my family, nobody. And I tried really to say, okay, they have won. I quit myself. I do suicide. Bad luck. It didn't work. I tried it 2 times, even heavy, you know. Even in the stomach and all kind of stuff, you know, really heavy. I don't regret it, you know. It was a really experience which I can say changed me, you know. God let me live, and God don't want to kill me. He had 2 times the chance to kill me, so it's not in this way to remove me. I think more that I have a mission to solve, and I'm part of it. Hey, it's hard for me, believe me, you know. It's very hard for me to finish this or to make this mission, you know, and I don't know how it ends, how it will be ending, maybe with my dad or whatever, you know, you never know. But one thing I want to be for sure, yes, it's the story about the hospital, where I really found out the evilness and the ugliness of these gang stalking people in real life, not in internet, not in cyberbullying, or which is, let's say, you can quit Facebook, you can escape, but this was really in real life, happening in real life. So it was like this, that finally my brother and my father and my auntie were, let's say, and even my woman were saying, hey, better maybe you go to the hospital and let's say be a little bit more protected by doctors, and as long as you are so stressed and all, you know. And finally, on one day, I decided to go to this hospital because I was feeling I have no chance here at home alone. I cannot do anything, you know. They can do everything with which what they want to do, you know. I receive emails about isolated people, about mental ill people, you know. My woman received emails about narcissistic woman, which is probably my ex-woman, my ex-stalker woman, who is causing all this since years. So okay, we come to the point. I was calling my father at this time, beginning of July. It was exactly the 1st July, so I was calling him and saying, okay, I'm ready, I go to the hospital, and I remember my father was very angry. On the first time I was there, I was just there for checking out the ambulance, and My father was very angry after and said, hey, why didn't you tell your story to the doctor? I said, yeah, I don't know if they believe me and all, And at this time, I heard first time the story that I was searched by the police, and I was very frightened and very surprised. In fact, one guy told to the doctor very quietly, hey, this guy is searched by the police. And yes, at this time I started to think, okay, better not go. But later I thought to myself, okay, there's no chance, I go to the hospital. I wanted finally some peaceful days, under protection in the hospital with doctors and also I wanted to save my woman, and also my father and my brother, So I really wanted to have a little bit outbreak, like a little bit a pause or something like that, But on the first time when I was there, there was this strange security sitting there, and believe me or not, when we were coming to the hospital with the ambulance, with the ambulance car, there were already 3 people there waiting. One has a dragon sign on his back, the other one was sitting there telling some strange notes that he lost his key for his safe in the cellar. And it was a mad mind game which they played already before I even entered the ambulance to speak to the doctor. But okay, I said to myself, yeah, maybe it's the best way, I go. Finally I saw the guy, he even let the door open, he put out his laptop, the security guy removed some documents, added some documents to my file, and yes. And then I was pushing a little bit, that I come next, because some guys were already saying, I'm next. I say, hey, come on, I just committed suicide, so come on, it's really more important, Yes, and I remember, on this talk, was not so much, I explained really at this time my situation, not all details, because all details I will only in the worst case tell, but at least a lot, about the stocking eggs and all this, and yes, and that she infiltrated my friends since years and built, let's say, army of people who trust I'm a bad guy and she's the superwoman and blah, You can believe it or not, but we will prove it later in episodes, step by step, So yeah, just wait and see. And to come to this special episode of the hospital, which really changed my mind, it's I entered in the night. My woman was not allowed to come with me, even not in the room, not inside the part of the hospital, of the psychiatric part. And already one guy was sitting there in the smoking room, which was looking at me totally. He was the only guy there at this moment. And yes, I had to speak with the doctor at this time. The doctor said, okay, yeah, hope you will not flipping out tonight, so we speak tomorrow. Yes, so finally I went to sleep. It was already very late, and I entered my room and I found the room very strange, because the room was there was no TV, there was no radio, it was just a bed and a table, and all very, very, let's say, spartanic, and everywhere cameras, everywhere, and you could not lock the door. This I also must explain. You could not lock your door. You only got the key for your shelf, So in fact, I was putting my stuff in the shelf, slept, and was thinking hopefully all will be good. Next day I was awake. I come to the smoking room after the breakfast, with the coffee, and the smoking room was full of people, strange people, all young people, mostly in the age of 30, 35, 25, Yeah, so it was really for let's say, psychiatric hospital, very strange that nobody else was there, no. And they all looked very, let's say, normal, I would say, not very ill, You expect in such a psychiatric hospital some very ill people who maybe are really mentally ill and do crazy stuff or whatever, but in fact nothing, and they didn't start to hide at this moment, There was one woman inside, who was speaking loudly. Yes, this guy cannot escape. He's by himself here, so no chance to escape, So, yeah. And she told immediately, in 2 days there will come a friend who has former worked as an undercover policeman, and yes. And so, of course, I was afraid, And from this moment on, I will make it also short, I will come back later in other episodes to this point. From this moment on, I was watched. First of all, they didn't hide anything. They were all playing together. It was like a team. It was like a team who played together. Even including the people who worked for the hospital. It sounds very weird, but not all maybe, but some of them, And main ones, It happened that, for example, what should I say, it was mainly this woman who were controlling at the first 4 days, the patients there, they are patients. Yeah. She was mainly controlling them and always telling them stuff, hey, go there, go there, go there, go there, do this, do that, And she was looking very normal, and normal, I would say, very, very. She was even telling, hey, here look, here my bag. She was went outside shopping, and it was a big bag full of stuff, So yes, she was, let's say, a special person on this hospital, On the same time, they put me on big infusions and changed my medication immediately, to a very rude point. For example, my woman was at this time the only one who visited me every day at 5 o'clock, and every time before my woman arrived, they gave me a strong sleeping pill, which is normally for the evening, when you go to sleep, but they gave it to me in the afternoon. Not just one pill, they gave me 3 or 4, or sometimes other stuff as well. So I was always, and the big infusion always, they said it's against alcohol, but it was really a killer infusion, and I must say at this point, I recognized one person, 2 persons in fact. One was a policewoman, which I know from the area, which is normally a police woman. She was there as a patient. And second, I realized that the sister, which I know from photos of the ex-talking woman, was there also as a patient. And she was always around. She was speaking to the doctors, she was speaking to the people who worked there. She spent the whole day to speak to the people of the hospital, Not so much to the patients, more influencing the people of the hospital, And yes, I remember on Friday, I came there on Wednesday. On Friday, I remember she was phoning, she had her phone, and they played all kind of tricks with me, like for example, some guy yelled, okay, my phone is stolen and all kind of stuff, and one time even my phone was stolen, so at this time I was alone in my flat, in my room, with cameras, full of cameras, and I remember that even the cleaning woman came inside and were only cleaning some small part in the edge of the window, which and nothing else, like she would montage something there, in the edge, It was exactly pointing on the point where I was sitting with my woman when she was meeting him, So it was just, it was some small black thing, I don't know what it is, maybe a camera or whatever, And so, in fact, they were just coming quickly inside, put this stuff on the window and quickly going out without cleaning anything in the room, you know. And many other strange things appeared, you know. I cannot explain all in detail, but there are so many things. It was horrible. I was every time watched. When I was going out to smoke a cigarette, at least minimum 2 or 3 guys were coming, or girls. You know, there was some Chinese girl, there was some really a strange hospital, I must say, you know. And yeah, we come now to the point. Finally, at Friday, I heard the woman phoning the, let's say, Polish sister of my narcissistic ex, NPD, in short, you can Google it. Yes, she said, hey, this guy is still standing after the infusion, I cannot help you anymore. But seriously, she worked somehow on her sister to stay there. She stayed there till the bitter end, you know. And I come to this now. Yes, the other woman, which I think was, let's say, a fake or corrupt policewoman, you know, who were undercover there or whatever, you know, and trying to get information out of me or whatever, you know, and they was getting more and more aggressive, you know, because of course she wanted to go home, you know, and the case got longer and longer, and the mess was growing and growing, and I was resisting, and finally they replaced her. I was on Monday, it was Monday, you know, and they replaced her. So in fact I had to change my room, and at this time I was not alone. There was a strange guy coming with me together in this new room, and immediately started to speak out. He's depressive and wanted to make contact with me. I resisted. I must say I was really hard to disguise. I was speaking to nobody, no word, not giving any cigarette, nothing, you know, no contact, you know, because I was feeling really it's dangerous to have too much contact with these people. Yeah. This guy were never leaving the room without me. When they were calling for food, and I know he had no food, and I had always my food from my woman, you know. So I always said, yes, I have my food. I stay here, in my room. They tried all tricks, you know, to remove me out of the room. And finally this guy always waited and waited and waited, and was really returning on himself, you know. And finally he went to quickly to get his food and immediately return to the room and eat it in the room, you know. Yes, and then a strange thing happened, that I got warned that they want to put me some drugs inside and finally have a chance to arrest me, you know, for this, you know. So, yeah, hard point, yeah, what shall I do? The only thing I had at this moment was a small phone, and yes, it was already hacked, so I started to protect myself into not sleeping anymore. I was asking my woman to buy me energy drinks, full gas. I was asking, trying to not fall asleep, to stay awake as much as possible in the night, I was even starting to put the camera with the film objective next to watch this guy, if he stands up, if he puts something in my bag, or if he puts something somewhere in my name. And yes, in fact, as he saw the camera or the phone, he was like, yeah, I destroyed his dream. Yes, and in fact, yeah, it was really a horrible time. I had no sleep. I had really, even some people on the internet made at the same time some jokes, you know, and posted insomnia and all this stuff, you know. So it was also always linked to the internet, you know. So all the people from the internet were also knowing what's going on in the hospital, you know. This is also a fact, you know. You know, you can believe me or not, but I will prove it later on several cases. And yeah, just wait and see. Wait and see. Yeah. Yeah, to finish this point, to escape this, I made a trick. In fact, this guy was waiting till the last moment and putting me some stuff into the... In fact, they were working with papers, you know. They were putting, for example, for the people to stay awake, to watch me in the night when I was smoking. They were putting some papers, for example, to a trash. And when you look inside the trash, you were seeing some coffee was standing there, you know, waiting for them to drink that they don't fall asleep. Yes. When I discovered this, I saw one small paper to my trash in the bathroom, in our room. So I was thinking, okay, this is the plan. The guy wants to put me the stuff in the trash. Yes, so let's say I was warned by God. Yeah. Okay. We come to the point, this guy gets nervous and nervous and nervous because the time runs, you know, and finally, I let him do. He was putting his stuff inside, you know, he was washing himself, and I was hearing he put something in the trash, you know, and on the same time I got from the internet warnings that this will happen, so from some stories of users or whatever, you know, and of my so-called friends, you know, so I was expecting this. So in fact, what happened is I tricked him out. I left even my wedding ring, you know, when he was just one time leaving this room, my roommate. I was dropping my wedding ring inside, and later when the doctor came, I said, sorry, I have really the big fear that they want to put me some drugs inside and want to arrest me because of this. So I attacked them frontally, you know, and as I even was searching in the trash to find something to prove it, and I lost my ring with it. Yes. In fact, at this moment you should have seen the guy's face. And he was even saying, oh my God. And he got nervous and nervous because look, in fact, when they would have find something in the trash, I would have the total proof that all my story was right. So the guy started to drink a lot of water and to fill up everything in the trash with water cans, you know, with water bottles. That all what is on the bottom of this trash is hidden, you know. And the fact is, at this time, they always clean very carefully the room, you know, was the trash. At this time, the cleaning woman came, and just in front of my door, she got a phone call and said, wash, wash, which means wash, wash. And look, she washed all, but really all. But she didn't clean the trash. The trash was staying. Magic, huh? Magic. Yes, so in fact my ring was there inside and also the whatever this guy put inside, you know. And the guy got nervous and nervous and nervous, you know. Yes. Then they started other work on me. As they saw this method doesn't work, they gave me in the afternoon some very strong medication, which made me not see correctly, you know, only, you know, let's say, I don't know the English word, but, you know, when you're a little bit like you are drunk or something like that, you don't see clearly. And in fact, they wanted to make me crazy because on the next day I should officially leave the hospital, you know, 1 week after. And they wanted to make me a crazy picture that the doctor say, oh no, you can't leave. So in fact, they were mixing up the medication, you know, they were changing up some medication colors. And I was, of course, and the guy who gave me the medication at night, the responsible person, was even saying, hey, doesn't it has a nice color, this violet pill? Yes, really sarcastic and sadistic, I would say, you know. And I was saying, okay, I take it anyway, I will survive for somehow. And I was taking it and later Googled and found out it's the same medication which I have, but not sold in Austria. It even has a similar name, but not the same, you know. And I found really the exact pill in the internet, which is the same from another company, but sold only in France and USA and the rest of the world, but not in Austria. So, yeah. From this moment on, I started to think, okay, it's a trick, you know. they want to make me crazy, that I go to the doctor again and say, hey, they want to give me false pills, and the result would have been that I would have they would have said, hey, you go crazy, you have to stay in the hospital. But I stayed calm and reminded in the morning the guy, who came and said, hey, can it be true that you put yesterday a violet pill instead of a pink pill inside? Because I didn't see so much, I didn't see so much, I was not seeing good because of the medication, but it can be, maybe, maybe. Yes, and the guy said, yes, thank you that you asked for this, yes, no, I have a good explanation, yes, it's in fact really a violet pill because it's a other dose which you get, so he was explaining it, it was all a fake lie, when you are knowing a little bit about medicine, and especially about this medicine, it was a fake lie to escape, But I stayed quiet, and the doctor came for the visit, it was officially my last day, so in fact, the doctor immediately started to work on me and said, yeah, but your blood values are not good, so better we change some medication from now on, so better test this medication and stay 1 or 2 days longer. And I was saying, no way, I'm here for free, I feel more safe at home with my woman, and here I promised I come back in 2 days, but I will leave today. So finally, when she saw it makes no sense because of the law, I have the right to go, to leave the hospital. In fact, at this time, she gave up and said, okay, yeah, you can go, anytime. Yeah, and in case that somebody unexpected awaits me outside, I was calling my woman and say, hey, I'm ready to go, so can you pick me up from the hospital? Yes, and then some very strange things happened, My woman was saying, okay, yes, I just take the next metro and come to you and pick you up. It was 12 o'clock in the afternoon, at noon. And yes, boom, yes, at the same time in the internet some messages were appearing of Miss L, who is probably Miss Z also, as a fake. And yeah, she messaged some mix and with some pseudonyms inside which show big attack or something like that, And finally my woman was sitting in the metro and the metro stopped for unbelievable 2 hours. I mean, normally this would be written in a newspaper, but it was not. I was checking the newspaper the next day. It was not written that the metro was stuck 2 hours in one station, between 2 stations. Then the connection of my woman was totally stopped. She was not writing anymore. So I got totally afraid in the hospital that I cannot leave with safety. So I called my father, and finally my father was also angry, of course, but he finally said, okay, I also come. Yes, and then finally this guy, my roommate, went so nervous. He was running up and down, like it would have affect him if I escape or not. Yes, and finally he went up and down nervous like hell, running around. I stayed calm, I said, okay, one of them will come. I wait. They were pushing me to the limit, I said, hey, I want to stay in the room as long as possible. I don't want to sit outside. I want to stay with my stuff in the room. They made tweaks and say, okay, you can put your stuff somewhere in a shelf from us. But I was not trusting them. Hey, they could have put again some stuff inside. So I said, no, I take care of my stuff. I stay here in the room as long as possible. And then they made the trick, okay, and said, okay, yeah, now you have to leave because we really have to clean. And they made even some foolish jokes, at the entry. I was always informing at the entry that my woman will come, so let her in. My father will come, so let her in. And the woman was saying, oh, it sounds like a race. Who will be first there? Yes, some funny jokes like this, imagine. Yeah, it was really a statistic play in this hospital, I wish it to nobody, honestly, but you cannot believe it if you're not in my situation. And then I saw already Mr. G from France posting a mix called La Escape, which means in French, they escape. So it means the info was already in France at this time to his friends. So yes, and the funny thing is the Polish sister or the Polish familiar person, which has nearly the face like my ex. Sorry for that, but yeah, and in fact, she started to say, yeah, but I want to leave too. And all people started to want to leave. The Chinese woman wanted to leave, the other people who wanted to leave, all people started to want to leave. Exactly on the time I want to leave. Of course, they don't want to stay there when I'm not there anymore, when their job is to watch me or to spy me out, Of course, they don't stay there for fun. So everybody was trying to fight to leave, Yeah, so, yeah, for me it was clear that I can leave, They even came inside and pushed me and said, you can leave anytime you want. Anytime you want. Yeah? But I was waiting. I was not ready to go alone, I was not knowing what expects me outside, so, yes. And finally, God helped me to end the story. My father was coming at 3 o'clock, believe me or not, the metro was stuck so long time, and I got no answer of my woman. My woman just called me 20 minutes before, hey, finally I can go, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And finally, yeah, 5 minutes later my woman also appeared, and we could all leave, and I was back at home. So, I think this is enough, and you can explain, you can think of yourself what you think about this story. Is it true? Is it just a fake? I promise you, I swear on God, this was the horriblest week in a hospital I ever had, and also one of the horriblest weeks in my whole life. I will never forget that, and I changed. And at this moment I said I strike back and make MBS. This was the birth of MBS. Thank you for watching. See you on next episode on Monday. XXXXL.